Hello again, everyone. You are welcome here. Um, we were trying to sort some things out behind the scenes, so forgive us for running a bit late. So how are you doing? How is your end? Are you in the UK? Are you in the US? Are you in Africa? Where? What continent are you watching us from? Just type in the chat, type in the comment, let's know where you're watching from because, hey, this is a global thing we're talking about today. If you look through, no matter what tribe, no matter what nation you are from, you begin to see these things displayed in, around us, and we're asking questions. Even the doctors don't have answers to why and how and what and where it's coming from, what is the reason for it. So this is where we need you to please plug in, invite others, announce it to people. They need to listen to this, especially it doesn't matter if you're affected, if you're not affected, you can actually share with someone who could help someone else. So it's not just about those affected, it's also about those of us who can help others. Share this video to others to learn. So without much talking, I will invite on the screen a very special lady who has gone through a lot with this topic. She's written a book. Okay, she's written a book on welcome. Let me go on to Google for sorry, not Google, Amazon now to show you how you can get the book. So you go on Amazon link that way and type welcome hope in the fog. It's a new book that's just been released. Can you see that? And voila, there you go. So you can get it on Kindle, you can get it on paperback. That is the story we're talking about today. So it is worth looking at. So please go in and check for the book title. Oh, sorry, I haven't displayed it. I thought I displayed it. Sorry. Okay, yeah. So go into Amazon and you will see Welcome Hope in the Fog, a story of denial, acceptance, and faith. And you will get your copy. You can see from anywhere in the world, get your copy. Right. So without much wasting of time, I will welcome on the screen Mrs. Uzoma Ochulor. You are welcome, my sister.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Bumi. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for actually finding time out of no time to be here because I know you are a super busy woman.
Thank you. I'm
Thank
happy to
you.
be here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So many people want to know you, know about you, know who this lady on the screen is. So please could you introduce yourself?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Bumi. Who am I? Okay, as Bumi has said, my name is Uzoma Ochulor. I'm a Christian. I'm a wife. I'm a mother. I'm a professional. I work full time. I have 3 children and I love traveling and meeting people. So more about me as we unpack the book we're talking about today. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. So thank you. Now we are going to ask you a few questions. And for viewers, those just joining in, please ask your questions. This is a time to ask questions, to learn, and to hear from someone who has gone through what many people are going through. And, you know, we've said so many things behind the scene. And this is where she's going to be unfolding some answers to your questions. Now, the first thing is, what inspired you to write Welcome Hope in the Fog and delve into the topic of autism from a parent's perspective?
Thank you very much. That's actually a very brilliant question. I'll start from saying that I had this deep sense to write the book. I hadn't always planned to write the book, but I know at some point last year, I started getting that, sensing to write the book, which wasn't just going away. So I had to just sit and start writing. But apart from the fact that I had this deep sensing to write the book, The topic we're about to discuss, or the topic we're discussing, is not commonly talked about. It's not a commonly talked about topic. It almost appears as if there's a stigma talking about the topic. And autism is just different. People need to be properly educated. Different can be beautiful. You know, from experience and interaction with parents and other families struggling, you find out that some people are living in denial. Some people are completely isolated. Some people don't have a clue as to where to go to find help. So all of these are what I would say inspired me to write the book. And I believe it's important to address this because parents are the greatest advocates
True.
for their child on the spectrum. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Parents are the greatest advocates, because they are the ones who have felt the pinch right from, looking at the milestone of children, and for every milestone you're either happy or sad, and you've gone through it. So thank you very much for saying that. Now, can you share actually a brief overview of the key themes or messages readers can expect to find in your book?
Okay. In the very front page of my book, the title of the book is Welcome Hope in the Fog. The key theme that I can expect readers to find in the book is that one, there is a fog, but two, there is hope in the fog. That's the key underlying message. So through all the stories, all the highs and all the lows, I want readers to go away with the fact that there is hope in the fog. In parenting and going through the journey of parenting a child on the spectrum, there are many dark and foggy days. That is the reality. But the key message I'm trying to pass across in this book is that you don't have to sit in the dark. There is hope. No matter how foggy, no matter how unclear, no matter how uncertain, there is hope. And that's the key message of this book.
Wow,
Thank you.
great, great. I'm trying to see how we can put the book on the screen without showing the other stuff. But okay. So welcome hope in the fog. All right. Thank you very much for that answer. So the key now we are asking, what are the key messages? So we've just answered what are the key messages. Now, what personal experiences or challenges influence the writing of your book?
Okay. First of all, I believe God wanted me to write this book. And I was saying to someone, immediately I started to write this book, somehow I just started meeting lots of people that were in the same, journey, going through the same journey. And it was as if God was connecting me with people in similar situations, people that I didn't even know were going through that. These are not new people. These are not
Mm,
people I've just met. These are people I've always known.
no.
And you find out that once I start to share my experience with them and mention, oh, I'm writing a book, the response was almost always the same. I can't wait to read the book. This is much needed. I can't wait
Mm,
to read the book. So these personal experiences kind of like urged me to go on. It encouraged me to carry on with the writing even while I was in the middle of it. So I just believe that the experiences and the challenges I have shared in the book are are going to be very helpful, to someone somewhere out there. Yeah.
yes. And I know without spilling the beans, do you want to, tell us what kind of support and guidance to parents, this book will offer to navigate the journey of raising a child with autism?
Okay. Yeah.
You could mention one out of so many. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, there's a lot of resources out there. One major thing I'm hoping to achieve with this book is I want people to be able to know what to do. I want people to be able to know where to go to, because I don't want people to go through what I went through. Because
Mm,
the system is helpful. I can credit them with that, but a lot they leave a lot of the responsibility on the parents. You need to
yeah.
dig things out, you need to find things out, you need to find support, you need to find that, you know it can be quite overwhelming. So, for example, there was after we got the diagnosis, they just gave us a bunch of booklets. I mean, I'm thinking, I don't even understand what you are on about. What am I doing with these booklets? So they just kind of like signpost you. But in the book, I've kind of like narrowed it down to where you can go to find help, be it your local council, be it the organizations that offer support groups, and even things like EHCP, how you can navigate that and work with your council or your school to get the necessary paperwork in place. So I'm hoping that people reading the book will be equipped with knowing what to do and where to go, and not just kind of like, trying to search for information all over the place.
Yes, yes, that's true because information is key when it comes to
Yeah,
dealing with conditions like this. And many people might be like, well, my child exhibits some, my child exhibits more,
yeah,
and why is it I guess my question is, why is it called, what is autism and
yeah,
what is autism spectrum? Because
yes,
they added spectrum to it because
yeah.
of different
It's
signs
wide.
and
Yeah, it's
symptoms.
a
So
wide, yeah,
yeah, so could you please explain what autism is? And I know it's not part of what
yeah.
I said I was going to ask, but people, please ask questions. This is
Okay.
your time to ask questions. Viewers, ask questions, please. Ask questions. It might not be your own child, it might be another child that you just want to help, maybe in church, in school, or
Yeah,
somewhere, your friends. Please ask those questions so you can know how to help, because
yeah,
we're supposed to be our brother and sisters keepers, aren't we? So please ask those questions so that Mrs. Ochulor can, shed light based on her own experience and journey in this in this journey. So thank you very much. Could you please tell us what is autism and what is autism spectrum?
Thank you, Dr. Bumi. So, first of all, autism is not a sickness. It's good to get that out there because people have a lot of misconceptions. Autism is not a sickness, as in you need to go and see a doctor, get some medication, and things like that. No, it's not. So, it's like I said at the beginning, it's a spectrum. Spectrum means that it has a very wide range and it can be anywhere on that spectrum. So imagine you have from the bottom end to the higher end. So anyone can be anywhere in the middle, in the beginning, lower end, at the end, at the other end, upper end. So that's why it's called a spectrum. The reason why it's called a spectrum is because no two people are affected the same way. You have some people exhibiting different symptoms and another set of people exhibiting a completely different set of symptoms. And that is why it is important to understand that, because there's no one box fits all. So in terms of calling it a spectrum, that's what it means. Autism itself is just a they call it being neuro divergent.
Mm,
That's another word for it. It's a kind of seeing the world differently. But there are three major areas that it manifests. One is in communication, one is in the second is in interaction, and the third is in behavior. So those are the three areas you normally have it express itself through. It's either some people in communication, some people are completely nonverbal, some people are pre-verbal. There are different levels to it. So autism itself is not a sickness, is a kind of condition where the people involved have challenges with communication, behavior, and social interaction. And so, in a nutshell, that's what autism is, and that's why it's called a spectrum, because no two people are affected in the same way.
all right, great. Thank you very much. So, from what you have said, autism is expressed in communication, behavior, and social interaction. Can you give examples of, because some will be like, these are big words.
Yeah,
What are those communication? Like you mentioned, some will talk, some will not talk.
yeah,
Some may say things, but and then we know of eye contact. We know of.
yeah.
So, what are those lit, common traits let me not say symptoms,
Yeah.
because you said it's not
Yeah.
disease. So I don't want to use symptoms. What are the common traits you see in
Yeah.
people with autism in the autism spectrum? So it
Yeah.
could exhibit himself in different ways, like you said.
Yeah.
Can you
Okay.
please shed more light?
Yes. Thank you very much. I'll pick them one by one.
Okay.
In communication, now with our son, I've learned so much. I mean, things that I ordinarily, normally would not have known. There's a difference between talking and communicating. You know, when our son was born, and with I'm sure all of the story with his birth and everything is in the book. And at that time they kept telling us he won't do this, he won't do that, he won't talk, he won't stand, he won't walk, he won't that, he won't that. And you know, I found out that there is a difference. People can talk, but they may not be able to communicate. So for autism, the emphasis is not really about just the talking. The talking is good, but the reason we're having this session is because we are communicating. We're not just talking. So
Yeah.
with autism, you find out that some children start from becoming non-verbal to becoming pre-verbal to becoming verbal. With our son, I don't say he's non-verbal, I say he's pre-verbal, because even though they said he wasn't going to be verbal, sometimes I find myself telling him, please, can you keep quiet for a minute? And I'm thinking, I can't even believe I'm saying that. Telling him to keep quiet for a minute because he's just on and on. But there's a level that's a first level before you get to communication. So when you communicate, you're talking to someone is understanding you, you're understanding the other person.
Yeah.
Now that kind of like fits into the other two. When someone is not able to express themselves, it can result in behavior issues. So the person can kick off. That's where you start to hear things like meltdown, because, oh, I want this. You don't get it. You don't get that this is what I want. And the person kicks off.
Yeah.
That's where the meltdown comes in. That's where the tantrums come in. That's where the crying, the kicking, and all of that. So those are their own way of trying to communicate, because they're not able to communicate in a way other people do. Now, in the terms of social interaction, that's where you have things like play, taking turns, and all of that. Now, they do that in a different way. They wouldn't do that in a way a neurotypical person will do, but that is the way those things present. So all of them put together, people express these at different levels. People are at different communication levels. People are at different behavioral levels. People are different in social interaction levels, depending on where you are on the spectrum.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you to those who are joining. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for joining in. Please make this as interactive as possible. Let's write comments. From what I'm saying, I was thinking, oh, a 20-minute video, but I think we're going to be here for a really long time, because there's so many questions that people need to ask. But hey, even though we don't do this the whole session, I know we need the whole day to do this. Even though we don't, you have the book. The book is, let me show you. It is Welcome Hope in the Fog. Welcome Hope in the Fog, A Story of Denial, Acceptance, and Faith by Uzoma Ochulor. You can just type the name Uzoma Ochulor, or just type the book. I'm expecting my own copy, and I'm hoping it gets to me soon. I would have, asked questions from the book, but maybe that will be another session. Oh, that may be another session. Okay. To talk really about the book, because I really like to ask questions from the book itself. So I'm expecting my copy. What are you doing? Book, gather your own, gather on Amazon, and let's get that book, because all she's saying and more is in there. So, next question I would ask is, how do how does Welcome Up in the Fog address the emotional impact and mental health considerations often expressed by parents of children with autism? Because I know, even without a child with autism, there are some stress and things of the world. Adding autism to it is like you must be a superhuman to deal with this thing. And I've seen people, I've heard stories, of how this thing tears families apart. So please, could you tell us how your book is going to address emotional impact?
Absolutely. This is such an important question, Dr. Bumi. Now, it's an understatement to say that parenting a child on the spectrum affects your emotional and mental health. I mean, it's an understatement
Mm,
because it does in no small measure.
mm,
Now, I've heard stories of families who have been torn apart, I mean, completely torn apart because of this. And in this book, I've shared all our struggles. Now, one of the things, I'll pick out one of the things I mentioned in the book. Now, at the early stages, we went through this phase of not sleeping. I mean, he's just not sleeping, you
mm,
know. And remember, I work. I need to be in the office at 8:30. So now this is me. I've sat up the whole of the night, maybe 5 hours through the night, and I need to get to work. So on this particular day, I drove to work, and instead of getting out of my car and going to my desk, I sat in my car. I was literally crying in my car.
mm,
I was like, I was feeling sleepy. You know what I did? I picked up my phone. I was calling every number callable because I
mm,
Googled, I found out there was something that could make someone sleep. Anyone I call, when I remember those experiences, I'm like, God, no one should go through this. I'm
mm,
like, I said, please, can you give me? I called the name of the medication. I'm like, hello, how can we help you? Please, can you give me? Why do you need it? Please, I need it. You know,
yeah.
it can be so draining, you know. So we need to be very intentional and
Mm,
take extra steps to
yeah.
look after our emotional and mental health. You know, talk to
Yeah.
someone.
Mm,
I mean, find support groups, speak to some others who are going through similar situations. It's not something you can do on your own.
mm,
There is people get burnout, people get mental health breakdown, and I also, you know, talked about it in the book because it's not something we can sweep underneath.
yeah.
It does affect you emotionally, it does affect you mentally, and it's not something you can wish away, but it's something that you can walk through. There is something that there is hope in when you are going through it. But it's
Mm,
good to understand these things are there, talk about them, and now take steps, you know, in the right direction. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. I know the big issue. Thank you very much for saying that. You talked about support group and having a support group around you and all that, because even though you're two in the family, you can't do it alone. Not to talk of a single mother, a single father doing this. It's and then you have siblings. You know, the dynamics, the family
Yes.
dynamics is just
Yeah.
out of this world. It
Yeah.
takes special grace.
Yeah.
Now, talking about support group, what do you think people who are in the support group of people with parents with children with autism can do to help?
Okay.
Well, sorry. Also, I don't want to say PT. PT is not it. It's not
No.
about PTing, or it's just something
Yeah.
proactive that people can
Yes.
do. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Bumi. First of all, there actually isn't a reason for pity
Mm,
because one, like I said, is not a sickness. It's a situation or a condition that has its associated challenges like any other thing would have challenges. Yeah.
mm,
So in terms of support group, first of all, I would advocate not sympathy, but empathy. Empathy kind of like doesn't make you pity someone, but it makes you put yourself in their shoes,
mm,
make you see things from their own perspective. It might be, oh, I can look after your child while you go get groceries. It
mm.
can be, oh, I can just anything really, because most times, before we were able to start getting like our son to go out on maybe play dates on Saturdays, I mean, your life is literally, you know, wound around it. You can't
Mm,
just up and go anywhere because
mm,
you would need to sort out, oh, who is going to look after him, who is going to look after her. And so all of those kind of supports with your support group, if you can get those kind of support from your support group, that would go a long way. So there's no pity doesn't do anything really. So you don't need to pity because it's not a pitiable situation. And as Christians, I always say it's a journey. God
mm.
has a purpose. I
Yeah.
mean, God didn't just wake up and realize, oh my God, this person has got a child on the spectrum. It's
Mm.
all in the plan, and there is a purpose. So while you are going
Mm.
through that journey, it's only good for you to find out things that will make it easier for you while you journey to the other side.
Yeah, thank you very much for mentioning that. I know our time is going so fast. Mentioning that bit where you said, there was something you said about it's not about pity, it's more of sympathy, empathy over
Empathy,
sympathy.
yeah,
And I know that there will be parents who are, no, let me not put it that way, let me put it in this way. So as a parent of someone who's got autism, what role do you think faith plays? I know it's got its pros and cons,
yeah,
and when I say cons,
yeah,
some actually live in denial.
yes,
That's a very
yes,
big one.
yes,
So
yeah,
what would you say the
yeah.
role faith plays in situations like this?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Bimi. That's a very interesting question, and I would really like to take time to talk about that. Now, if you look at the front page of my book, below the title, I put a story of denial, acceptance, and faith. The reason why that is there is because from experience, I can tell you that those are the three stages people normally go through,
Mm.
especially people of faith. Now, I've had people say, somebody has spoken to me before to say she works with children's services, and when she tells some parents that, oh, suggesting that maybe they should get their child tested, they said, no, we're trusting God, we're believing God, there's nothing God cannot do, what God cannot do does not exist. All of that is perfectly acceptable. I agree with all of that. But we need to be careful that we are not using that to mask some kind of denial. For you to make progress, for you to get from the point of, oh, there's nothing wrong, to the point of we're believing God, and while we're believing God, we are going to be doing this. You need to go through that phase of, it's okay to be in denial. I was in denial myself. I
Mm.
don't even know for how many years. So, but it's important that we don't get stuck there. When I use the word acceptance, I'm using that cautiously. I'm not saying accept your faith. What I'm saying is understand that this is the situation, because except you move to that step, you cannot even begin to express the faith. So there is a denial. It's perfectly fine to be in denial, but we
Mm.
shouldn't get stuck there. We
Mm.
should move out, get to acceptance, and get to the point of faith. Faith, I mean, the reason I'm even standing here or sitting here and speaking to you is Jesus. Because
Yes.
I mean, at the end of the day, the book says he is the reason for my hope. I'm
Mm.
talking about all this hope in the fog, all this hope in the hope is not abstract. It's because I know I have faith.
Yeah.
So that is very strong. But it's important for us not to also get stuck in denial because we have faith.
Yeah, true, true. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So there are pros, there are cons to faith, but we should make it work. So it's just like someone who is uh expecting God for healing. You need to go to the doctor. Doctors have been put there to aid you, to help you. Someone who is having a headache, you're believing God for healing for that headache. But what do you do? Do you just sit down there and keep struggling and being in pain? No, you go to the doctors, get some medication, and while you are praying on that medication, Father, let this thing work for me. Let
That's
you
right.
start praying and putting all these spiritual exercises into place, but not just sitting there and thinking, oh, I'll just depend on God, and not doing what God will actually want you to do at that stage for that child. Imagine a child who is being bullied in school. You're just insisting, no, they must go to this kind of school, they must go to there.
Yeah.
Let's make faith work.
Yeah.
Let's make faith work for children with autism spectrum, because they need us more than we can ever think. They need us to understand. And so, do you have any particular thing you want to talk about? Because I'm looking at my time, and I don't want us to stay for too long on this.
Yeah.
Everything is in that book. Welcome. Let me put that book up again. Welcome, Hope in the Fog, a story of denial, acceptance, and faith. Everything, every question you need to ask is in that book. So this is a time to just sensitize people to go um, get the book so that they can read for themselves and digest all the information there. So is there anything last minute you want to say as we round up?
Um, yes, like Dr. Bumi said, thank you very much, Dr. Bumi, for having me on this session. Yeah, I would really encourage you to get the book. There's so much to say. I can't even, like Dr. Bumi said, we'll probably need a day, to talk about everything. But I think at this point, we've got to the point where we need to create awareness, raise awareness. It's not a taboo. It's not a stigma. There's no stigma and there's no reason for sympathy. It's a journey. I want us to, if you're going on this journey, I want you to know that there is hope. There is hope. There are dark days, I agree. There are foggy days. But even in those days, there is hope. Celebrate every milestone. Celebrate every step. We've gone from, oh, hello, Mrs. Ochulor, please, can you come and pick your child, to Mrs. Ochulor, your child is the star of the week this week. He's the star of the class. He's the this. So, I mean, that all, it's all a journey. Like the last thing Dr. Bumi said about schools, sometimes you are stuck in, oh, I want my child to attend this school, and my child must attend that school. But it's not about you. It's about giving the child the best opportunity they need to thrive. So if the child is not thriving in that school, why not put him in a school where they are going to thrive? So I just want to encourage every one of us, please try and get a copy of the book. If you are on this journey, I just want to encourage you and tell you that there is hope. Don't give up, carry on, and we'll just journey together and trust God that He will bring us out to where He wants us to be.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I can't thank you enough. I can't even thank you enough for taking time out to be here to discuss, welcome hope in the fog, autism spectrum. It's not something everyone would want to do. In fact, not many people want to, except maybe they're medical practitioners. They might, okay, yes, let's talk about it from the book aspect, from the theory aspect. But this is someone who was experienced. And by the way, the disclaimer, this is Mrs. Ochulor's perspective as a parent. So do you have a story to tell about your own perspective or your own experience to add to what has been said, or even to say, oh, actually, that's why it's called autism spectrum. Mine exhibits in this way, or mine is seen in that way. Is that something you want to encourage others with from talking about autism spectrum? Please come over and would like to hear from you, because your words will encourage somebody in that situation. All we need now is a support group. This is part of the support group, encouraging ourselves, say, well, you're not alone in this. Others are facing it, and this is how they have dealt with it, and this is who they are now, So we're able, that is a journey, like we know, it's a journey from point A to point B. So as we go on this journey, I pray that we all help ourselves, be our brothers keepers, our sisters keepers, and help somebody be in their support group. Help them, even when they don't tell you. Some are shy from asking for help. Please, let's make ourselves available. Thank you very much, Mrs. Uzoma Ochulor. You are a star. Please, everybody, you can say thank you to her by just going on Amazon. Get a book. Even if you're not getting it for yourself, get it for someone and send it to them. Please get this book because it is powerful. I'm waiting for my copy. Maybe when I have my copy, we'll be able to talk more about this. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Bumi. Thank you
very much. And I wish you all the best in the next book, because I know it's just the start.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you. More grace to you in the name of Jesus. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a lovely time. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. So you've had it all, people. What are you going to do? How are you going to support people who are experiencing this? Get the book to them. I'm sure she will be doing, I know sometimes it's easier for people to read it on a podcast or to is it, what do they call this, audiobook? Yes, that's the in thing now. People just want to be listening to a book, and I'm sure she's going to get to that stage and develop it into that as time goes on. So please support her, support those on the autism spectrum, and I will see you another time for another episode on us inspiring, educating, and creating awareness about situations around us. Thank you. Please, if you're here, I know there are many people online, but we can't seem to be getting any comments. Is it the system not working? If you're here, just say something. Let's see. Let's know that you're here with us. Okay. Just say something. Type in something. Hello. I'm listening from UK. I'm listening from wherever. It'll be nice to know that we have made an impact. And after the show, please write a comment, like, share, subscribe, and do what will make other people benefit from this. Thank you very much. It's au revoir for me, and see you